It's kitchen reveal day. Normally I'm showing you other people's spaces, but today, welcome to my renovated kitchen. I'm going to show you through some of my favorite features of this new space, a couple of luxury tips, and 2 mistakes that I made, one of which I'm going to fix. Stick around. My name's Dave. I'm an interior designer specializing in kitchen and bathroom design, amongst other things. I want to walk you through the final design of this kitchen. Okay, the things that I really couldn't change. Couldn't really change the plumbing a whole lot. A lot of people have very strong opinions about this. The reality is I don't have the facility in this building to move the plumbing, so it was going to have to stay pretty much where it is. One of the other big constraints I have is actually the window behind me. The window behind me is smack bang in the middle of the back of the kitchen, and it provides a few interesting design challenges, but it meant I had to design the cabinetry around it. It is a south-facing apartment and it's ground floor, and I'm surrounded by a lot of foliage and trees. So what that means is I don't get a whole lot of light in here throughout the day. And as much as I hate doing white kitchens, white homes, you will see around my home, there is a lot of white simply because I need to maintain what we call a high LRV, light reflectance value, basically keeping a light tone so light can bounce through it. Here are a couple of happy snaps of the old kitchen. Number one, it was very dark. The floors were a medium to dark green floor. I didn't hate the color, but they sucked out so much light in this space. One of the other things that I changed a little bit was actually the clearance on the end of what is now the peninsula. The island used to have about 900 mil. It was just a wee bit tight. So when I redesigned the kitchen, I knew I just wanted to improve that clearance a little bit more. So it's now 1.2 meters or 1200 mil, and that is life-changing. Let's talk about my own personal brief for this project. So I've talked about the constraints and what I had to design around. What did I actually want out of this kitchen? So my personal design style is very 80s inspired. It is postmodern. It's fun, it's tongue-in-cheek, but it is also refined and considered. I also love Bauhaus design from the 1920s. And if you know Bauhaus, the 3 big colors are red, yellow, and blue. And you will see around my kitchen that that has made its way into this kitchen. So I knew my palette pretty early on. All of the colors you see are what we call toned colors. They have gray added to them. 10 years ago, we were doing the same thing, but we're making pastels by adding white. Now we're adding a bit of gray. So it just calms everything down. The other thing I knew I wanted to do is I wanted to do an all laminate kitchen, including the countertops, to show to my clients and to people like yourself watching this video that you can create amazing spaces using laminate countertops. Usually with laminate, we would do a 30, 35 mil, really fat, thick countertop. And for me, that just reads really old school. Often you'll also see the bullnose edge on it, the really rounded edge, which is what I had in this kitchen before, and it just feels really dated. So I've actually finished this cabinetry or this kitchen with a 20 mil, or I think it's actually an 18 mil high pressure laminate top. So it's literally the same material that we use for the doors, but I've used it for the countertop. And as you will note, instead of edging the countertop with the white color, I went, no, I actually want to create some contrast, something interesting. And I've used this amazing color called Moroccan clay from Laminex, and I just adore it. It's just this little detail. It feels really contemporary. It's a little spark of interest, and it just brings through that idea of, it's not a pure red, but it just brings through a little bit of a tinge of something. The last thing I knew I really wanted to do from a spec point of view was to have higher countertops. I probably designed most of my kitchens at 900 mil, and I knew that I wanted to do 950 countertops on mine just to give me a little bit extra height. I'm just standing here and everything is perfectly at my hip height. So this is the ideal height kitchen for me. My mother, who's 5 foot nothing, might struggle a little bit more with it, but this kitchen was designed for me. There are 4 main Laminex colors that I have used in this particular kitchen. On the front of these lowers here, this is called Macedon Mist. And if I had my time again and I could only choose one color for this kitchen, it would 100% be Macedon Mist. It's kind of a steel blue. It's kind of gray, but it's not, it's blue. It's just a beautiful color. I love it so much. The second color we've got is called Pale Honey. It's again, also a Laminex color. And you can see it is got a little hint of gray in it. So it's a bit more subdued. Love it. The third color, which I already talked about, is Moroccan clay, which I have only used on the edge banding. It doesn't appear anywhere else. So it's just this little pop of detail, which I love. And finally, the countertops are Rocky Bay. It has a slight pink undertone, like so slight. You would have to literally compare them against other samples, but I chose Rocky Bay because it has this little bit of a pink, which sort of references this here. Now, the way I have distributed color throughout this kitchen, I think is really interesting. I didn't want to just do one single color all throughout. I wanted to play a little bit with the placement of color. So on this side, and this is the side I started to design first, I knew that I wanted to do the edge banding. I knew I wanted to do the countertop, and I thought, all right, we're going to do the blue lowers down here, in Macedon Mist. And then I was like, all right, we'll do the uppers in the pale honey. That will create a nice bit of visual contrast, right? The kicker came when I got to the pantry, and I thought, what am I going to do with the pantry? Because as you can see, the blue stops here, the yellow's here. So what am I going to do to fill this void? Am I going to like continue the white? What am I going to do? Am I going to do this all one solid color? And I said to my cabinet maker, can you make the door and the panel 2 different colors? And they went, sure. So they have done an amazing job. This whole door is actually, it's 2 separate panels and it has inner support rods on it. These are the details that get me, right? So just under that lip, that trim there, the blue stops, the yellow starts, and we've just got this amazing break line across the whole kitchen, which I love so much. On the other side of the kitchen, I then inverted that. Well, I haven't really inverted it because there's no real blue over this side. It's all pale honey. So I was trying to balance out the overall proportion of color. Lots of blue here, a little bit of yellow, a lot of yellow over here. And then on the other side of that, as you actually walk into the apartment, is all closed joinery. And that is all in the Rocky Bay, which is just white. So I didn't want you to be fully assaulted by color the moment you walked into my apartment. I wanted it to be a little bit of discovery as you enter the kitchen. Let's talk about appliances in this kitchen. There's not a whole bunch of appliances. We've got dishwasher. This is a Bosch built under dishwasher. So you can see it's got a stainless steel front on it, but it is designed that it sort of sits flush within the joinery, and it also has a kick that matches the rest of everything else. Bosch pyrolytic oven, Bosch induction stovetop. I also have a Bosch recirculating with carbon filter range hood. It recirculates the air, but it's also designed to take out all of the crud that's in the air as well. You've got to change those filters every 6 to 9 months depending on use, and they're like 20 or 30 bucks. This is one of my luxury spends. Okay, so this is like a high-low kitchen. The Bosch appliances are all middle of the road, good quality, good warranties, but not crazy expensive. Laminate countertops, more affordable. What I did splash out on is this tap. So this is a Jessie tap, Italian made. Why did I buy this tap? It's chrome, kind of goes with that postmodern feel, but the real reason I bought this tap was for the red handle. It had to look like an interesting tap. It couldn't be something boring, and just having that little color pop on there, for me, I love it. I got a good deal on this. Normally I think it would retail for quite a bit of money, like $1,200. I think I got it for about half that. So this was like my luxury spend. Now I want to show you a couple of my favorite details of this kitchen. They're small and they're not necessarily expensive, but they add up. The first is choice of hardware. So this kitchen is full Blum kitchen. I've specified Blum Tandem Box, which is their entry-level system, which is this white inner, which works perfectly for me. It is an aluminium profile, and all of the Blum drawers are a full extension, meaning they come all the way out. And they also feature Blue Motion soft closing. Same with all of the cabinets. They all have Blue Motion soft closing, which in this day and age, if you're not doing that, I don't know what you're doing. On the subject of Blum, let's have a look at the pantry. So I've got a push to open on the pantry. You open the pantry, and I've continued the Blum tandem boxes through here to a product that Blum calls the Space Towers. Okay, and there's again full extension. So if I'm going, where's the peanut butter? Oh, look, there's some ginger right at the back here. There it is. Isn't that great? And I can put it away, soft close. The other thing that you may or may not have just picked up on is the lighting. So when I open the pantry, right, light comes on. I don't know how we can see that, but there's a little sensor up here. It just goes on and off like that. And all I have done is I asked the cabinet maker, I drew it in my drawing set. There is a recessed LED channel in here. So it sits flush on the inside of the cabinetry. We have run LEDs through here, and ta-da, for the cost of like $200, I have a commercial grade lighting inside my pantry, which just makes life so much easier. On the subject of lighting, this is one of my no-brainers that I think every new kitchen should have. LED kick lighting. Used professional grade components. So I source most of my LEDs from a company here in Brisbane called Linear Locks. They produce commercial grade, long-lasting quality products. I usually don't have my overhead lights on, right? But this is fully dimmable, so I have a wall controller for it, fully dimmable. So at nighttime, if I'm out here just having a cup of tea, I can have it really low. I don't need any other lights on. It's a beautiful ambient glow. I've actually got this set up on a schedule, so it turns on at 4:30 at like 10%, so I can feed the cat. It's such a small upgrade, but it just adds to that luxury feeling and it gives you an additional layer of light. I want to show you possibly my favorite thing in the kitchen, the thing that I will never not tell you to include, which is the bin. So this is a Bloom servo drive bin, and it has an inner from our friends at Lincoln Century, which has 2 removable 32-litre bins. This is the bin right here. There's no handles on it. To open it, all you have to do is press it. Now, if I'm standing up, I can put my hip into it a little bit like this. Or I can use my hand, or I can even use my foot. So this is actually an electronic ejection system. So there's a little motor at the back there. There's a little sensor at the front. When it detects it's being pushed, it'll actually fully eject it. You can see it comes all the way out. Literally all the way out. Bin, recycling. So this is the perfect workflow. Let's say you've got a chopping board and I need to get rid of some ends of some spring onions, right? I've got my knife, I've got my board, and I just need to scrape the back of my knife into the waste bin, and I'm just walk along, kick it with my shin, and bin open, scrape, 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 push, soft close, done. All right, let's talk about the 2 mistakes and the one that I'm gonna fix. All right, cabinet maker got a lot of stuff right. There's one thing that maybe got skipped over. When I had drawn this pantry, right, I had a bigger clearance. At the moment here, it's only about 30 mil. I think I had probably 100 mil. So everything was actually 100 mil that away. What happened when it came time to install? Something went wrong, okay, at fabrication point, and this pantry was made slightly bigger than it should have, meaning that the clearance over here is not very big. And you might go, well, what's the problem with that? I will show you. If I open this, okay, and I don't open it all the way, I can't pull out my drawer. Or I can, but I'm gonna scratch that panel. These are 115 degree Bloom hinges, so they will go back 115 degrees. At the moment, that's just sitting like 95 degrees because it's hitting the wall. When I push it all the way back, I can fully open the drawer, okay? Now, if this was a client's home, would I have accepted that? Probably not. I would have said, guys, we need to resolve this. And they absolutely offered to resolve it on the spot. But I made the decision, I'm okay. Nothing's ever perfect. And this was a workaround for me. So what I had to work around was I have a couple of little clear bumpers, which then stop it from banging into the wall. The other thing that I had to change was I was supposed to have the big yellow or the big blue pull on here to open the pantry, but because it sits, 4 or 5 centimeters, I couldn't fit that. So instead what I had to do was just add a push to open mechanism so that you could open the pantry. The other mistake that was purely on me is right here. Can you tell what it is? It's the grout color. When I first set out designing this kitchen, I was actually going to do this grout color, like a burnt orange, not too dissimilar to this. And I did a few mock-ups and I went, no, I think it's going to be too much. And then I was like, what about if we did a blue grout? Mapai have a great blue grout. And then I did a mock-up and I went, I think it's going to be too busy. So when it came time to tiling, I said to the tiler, this is alabaster. I was like, just do alabaster. It's like a creamy white, again, which not usually something I do, but I was like, we're going a little bit retro. We've got a little bit of warmth in this kitchen. Let's do alabaster. But I don't like it because you can't really see the individual tile. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some grout paint or even a really thin screed layer of new grout and paint it a mid to medium dark gray. And I think what that's going to do is just bring back the lines of this, and it's going to add visual detail. And I want it to look like a Rubik's Cube. I want it to look at that bit more 80s retro vibe, and that will bring it back. Before we wrap up, I want to share another tiny little detail, which hopefully you've noticed, and that is my drawer pulls and my cupboard pulls throughout. These amazing little pulls were handmade for me by Oliver from Wood in Melbourne. The company's called Wood Melbourne. They create some items out of wood, but also out of acrylic. And they come in 2 different sizes. And Oliver's got maybe 12 or 14 different colors, and you can choose the size, and you can also choose a different top and a bottom color. These are like the jewelry on the kitchen. If this kitchen did not have these pulls, it would look very, very boring. I purposefully didn't want to do a shark fin pull on my kitchen. I knew I wanted to do something interesting, and it was either going to be blingy or, in this case, very colorful. It just made sense for me to do this. So that was a lot, and my cat is dying. Oh, there she is. Sabrina's dying to have some lunch, so I'm gonna go give her some lunch. Thank you for checking out my kitchen with me. If you have a design project or you like my kitchen, you can follow me on Disco Designs. I'm here on TikTok, I'm on YouTube, you can find me on Instagram, and of course you can come and visit me here in Paddington in Brisbane.